Traditionally, each graduation ceremony features an address by one of our newest graduates who speaks on behalf of their peers. This honour is awarded to someone who, during their time at the university, has exemplified the qualities we seek to instil in all our graduates. This afternoon's address will be given by David Hobbis, who has graduated with a Bachelor of Science majoring in Geology and Physical Geography and a Bachelor of Arts in Theatre and English Literature. During his studies, David was awarded Top Student in Geophysics and Physical Geography in 2024 and the Harold Large Prize for Top Student in Renaissance English Literature in 2023. David is currently finishing his first year of postgraduate study in geology and will begin his master's thesis in February next year, which will involve dating a preserved landslide deposit in Canterbury. In the future, David hopes to work in researching the past, present and future stability of the Antarctic ice sheet. E te whakamininga, ho mai te pakipaki, please welcome David to give the graduate address.
Keeping you all in suspense. 4 billion years ago, this little rock that we live on called Earth was formed. At first, everything was covered in lava, but with time, everything cooled down a little bit, and after 1 billion or so years, some very simple life was able to form. These single-celled organisms dominated the Earth until around 500 million years ago, this thing called the Cambrian explosion happened, where all of a sudden life gets a whole lot more complicated. And you'll have to ask paleontologists for what that actually means. Not much else has really happened since then, the odd meteor, supervolcano, mass extinction, so on and so forth. Until 1897, when atop the ancient land of Calburnia, Victoria University of Wellington was founded. Some argue the most important event in geological history. And now, 128 years later, we are gathered here to celebrate having continued to justify the existence of this fine institution by completing a degree. Congratulations, everyone. There is a reason I started by going this far back. There is, quite literally, an inconceivable amount of life contributing to each and every person in this room. Let's start small. I'm sure everyone can think of someone who has fought and struggled, or if you let me introduce my key term, someone who has suffered for us. A parent who went without to make ends meet, a friend who was there for us when we needed them, a teacher or a tutor or a lecturer who has worked long hours to inspire us. I would like to gently remind everyone to say thank you to those people. Thank you to parents and to family. Thank you to friends, both those who have suffered alongside us through study and those who have not. And thank you to tutors and lecturers. And here I would like to briefly indulge myself by personally thanking Sean Eves, Kevin Norton, Anya Leanman, Cliff Atkins, Monica Handler, James Crampton, Rob Mackay, and the rest of the staff at SGs and the English Literature and Theatre schools. Now, granted, most of your family and friends and professors probably aren't quite as old as planet Earth, maybe one or two exceptions. But we have evolutionary ties going back so much further, not just thousands, not just millions, not even just hundreds of millions, but billions of years to the origins of life itself. Behind each of us is a staggering number of living things which have survived, which have suffered, which have prevailed, and which have then passed on. I find that rather sobering, to think that so many creatures have lived to facilitate my very existence. Not just people, but animals and plants and tiny fragments of life which have prevailed for mere minutes before being snuffed out. So that brings me to us. You don't need me to tell you that university is hard. It's not quite a mass extinction, but everyone has experienced the stress of studying to achieve something that not everyone is able to. But I think it's hard to fully conceptualize how powerful that suffering itself is. It builds resilience, builds drive, and hopefully a little bit of love and passion. But I also got my BA today, so I'll get really heady with it. We've inherited the experience of living things from the dawn of our planet. This is how we carry forward the ancestral legacy of suffering and, equally as importantly, the evolutionary legacy of prevailing. We have struggled and suffered and fought, and at times I'm sure many of us have wished it would be over, but we have prevailed in the face of it. I know it's a rather dramatic way to put it, but I really do believe it. I believe that each of those packet ramen dinners with your 10th coffee as an entree, those sleepless nights, each of those tired, tearful breaths that you take at the end of your rope is a wonderful, profound reflection of the capacity for living things to triumph. So now here we are. After 2.5, 3, for me 3.5, for many of you 5, perhaps even more years of study, having reached this particular grand finale and standing at the precipice of something new. And yes, in the places we all end up going, there will be suffering. And still, you will prevail. Thank you.